back to the morning show here on Arise News. I'm Biola Alabi. Lanre Fatimilehin is the Chief Executive Officer for Africa Real Estate Investment and Asset Management, the asset management subsidiary of the development company Persianas Group. Persianas is a developer, owner, and operator of commercial real estate properties in Nigeria. The group leads the formal real estate sector and was the developer of the pioneering Palms in Lagos, which was the first internationally specified formal retail mall in Nigeria. The development set the benchmark for formal retail market in Nigeria and in the region, with retail emerging as a key economic contributor over the last decade in Nigeria. Let us take a look with him at the current state of the retail market and what the future holds in this sector. Welcome to the morning show, Mr. Fatimilehin. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's good to have you on the show, and I think it's really interesting to be talking about the retail sector in Nigeria, and especially the formal retail sector. So one of the things that I picked up was the estimation of Nigerians' consumption. It says the estimated consumption of Nigeria is 388 billion annually, and it is projected to grow to 1.4 trillion by 2030. Are these numbers still accurate in the face of the last year of the inflation, recession? What are you seeing when it comes to consumption?
Well, I think the last 18 months have been a pretty difficult road for the retail market. The devaluation of the currency has been a big driver of a slowdown in consumption. So we've just seen that come down drastically. So consumption is down. I mean, growth has come down as well.
Well, we're in a recession, so growth is down. And so really these numbers from a consumption perspective are no longer what they were, I'm sure.
Yes, of course, absolutely. So there's a new trajectory for that. I mean, I don't know exactly what we expect it to be anymore in 10 years, but there are still bright spots. The market is still big. There's still a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
I think it's just about getting certain things right.
So do you believe that the retail market in Nigeria is still buoyant and is still going to sort of face some huge growth, especially around development, because you are a developer?
Yes, we are a developer. I believe that the market is huge. When you think about formal retail as a proportion of the retail trade in Nigeria, it's only about 1%. So there's a lot of room for growth, as long as you have the right product. So, I mean, at Persianas, we think of our shopping malls as our product. I mean, and when you think about retail development or property is it's the end of the supply chain.
Sure.
So, I mean, you've made your product, you have your service, you need somewhere to sell it to the public, and that's what we do. Now, when you think about those businesses, you're in a shopping mall, they're selling their products. I mean, they have the same issues that many of the Nigerian businesses are facing today. They have to stock up. They need FX to do that, a lot of them. I mean, because of our manufacturing base in Nigeria is not where it should be. They have, power is high, the cost of power is high. Rentals are relatively high in, formal shopping malls. So when we think about that, we believe that we need to be offering a different kind of product to retailers. And so what we think is that we cannot build the massive malls that we've seen so far.
Okay.
So I think what we expected the trend to be was to, we had the Palms about 20,000 square meters, and we had a lot of malls being built at that kind of size.
Sure, that is what
exactly. So that was the benchmark.
As a leader in the market,
exactly.
That's what other people are benchmarked against.
And people started building bigger malls. There was a lot of investment from South Africa.
Sure.
So you had South African investors, developers coming into Nigeria and building growing as well.
I'm sort of just talking on investment. In 2014, Nigeria was listed as a place offering the best retail investment by A.T. Carney. What do you think? I mean, what would you say to investors today that sort of invested then, and when they look at Nigeria today, or new investors?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say to those who've invested already is that
it's a long, long year.
Yes, it is. It's, you know, the opportunity is huge, and you know, one should not underestimate what it takes to do business here. But there's a reason they came. The market is huge. I think once you adjust to doing business, and once things start to stabilize, the returns they expected will start to come through. What I would say to new investors and people looking to come in is that, yes, I understand that they're going to be cautious, but they should not, I don't think they should discount the country yet. Again, going back to the scale of the opportunity, going back to the space, you know, yes, we can all compete in this market, but there's a lot of room. So I would say, look, this is still a great place to do. I mean, it's a great place to do business.
You sound very positive at Persianas.
Yes, we are. I mean, I think, you know, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot over the last 4 or 5 years. You know, obviously we had a boom, and that was great. Now we've gone through a downturn, and we believe the market is going to start to turn. We think that the government is making certain interventions. I mean, you know, we want more, but you know, there are certain interventions that are being done now that I think are going to help the retail sector. There's an economic and growth plan which is slowly being implemented. So we're very positive, and we know that we have to adjust the product we're going to offer retailers who are our own customers. And obviously, you know, as long as we ensure that the retail experience is still good for our secondary customers who come in to buy our retailers' goods, I think we're going to do very well.
So one of the things about malls and sort of these mega malls that you normally construct, they're very capital intensive.
Of course, yes.
We've just talked about investors sort of probably on the back foot right now when it comes to new investment. What sort of is your new trajectory about developing new malls? And I know you mentioned that they're going to be smaller type of malls. How are you managing your secondary customers' expectations around that as well?
I think when you think about shopping malls now, I mean, it's no longer just a place to come and shop. You know, people want an experience. So you want to go to a mall, you want to have a cinema there, you want to have your food offering, you want to have your fashion offering, and you want to have a food anchor. You know, we call them the ShopRites, etc., spas. So I think when we look at designing something smaller and not as capital intensive, it doesn't mean that we're not going to give customers the experience that they want. I mean, it just means that, look, we're going to redesign, you know, for the benefit of retailers. We're going to use, you know, use lower cost materials, and it's just about the shape of the thing. So I don't think customers' experiences will be affected, but I think it's going to be better for the retail market, for retailers, and for customers. And with time, I'm sure we're going to go back to, you know, investment in big malls, you know, 20, 30,000. I think that will still come, you know, but that's going to come with the growth of the country and the economy.
Okay. And then from a funding perspective, like sort of the different funding mix, can you tell us a little bit about some of the challenges you guys had in the beginning of sort of raising funds?
Yes, absolutely.